Okay, hello, Maddie here. We're back again with some more books for y'all. So hopefully you're ready and excited for it. This week we are talking about a book called The Upside of Falling by Alex Light. Now, I don't own a copy of this book. I have read it / listened to it multiple times from the library, but I don't actually own it. It's a good book. It's cute, and I'm going to go into why I want to talk about it. But anyways, we're talking about Upside of Falling by Alex Light. And of course, in my thumbnail, I'll have a picture of the book. I've given up on trying to show the cover of the book from my phone because it just, the lighting is weird and the focus is weird. So yeah, I'm just going to stop trying that. Anyways, for the synopsis. It's been years since 17-year-old Becca Hart believed in true love. But when her former best friend teases her for not having a boyfriend, Becca impulsively pretends she's been secretly seeing someone. Brett Wells has it all. Being captain of the football team and one of the most popular guys in school, he should have no problem finding someone to date, but he's always been more focused on his future than who to bring to prom. When he overhears Becca's lie, Brett decides to step in and be her mystery guy. It's the perfect solution. He gets people off his back for not dating, and she can keep up the ruse. Acting like the perfect couple isn't easy though, especially when you barely know the other person. But with Becca still picking up the pieces from when her world was blown apart years ago, and Brett just barely holding his together now, they begin to realize they have more in common than they ever could have imagined. When the line between real and pretend begins to blur, they are forced to answer the question, is this fake romance the realest thing in either of their lives? That's so intense. It's not that intense. So I read this book for the first time, I think in 2021, at least that's when I wrote my blog. So it must have been 2021. And I think I read it when I was still at the dealership. Yeah, so I read it towards the end of my time at the dealership when my world was like chaos and awfulness. It's so funny because later, this is not important, but I did physically read this book the first time. I listened to it this last week, so more recently. And I reread it because I couldn't remember anything about it. I was like, I knew it was a fake dating premise. I remember thinking it was cute, and I couldn't remember a single fact about the entire book. And that is because this book is so full of cliches, you forget that it's part of this book. Because there are things that happen in like so many books, especially things like fake dating books, high school romances. There are so many of them that it's a book of cliches, cliche tropes, cliche things that it's like there's nothing unique about it, but it's still really cute. Honestly, this video is less of a recommendation and more of a it's just funny that these books exist. And I just reread it, so I feel the need to talk about it because as I was rereading, I was like, oh, that was this book. Because I had lots of, like I said, cliches in my mind that I'm like, I know that was in some book that I read, but I can't remember which one. It was all this book. Every single thing was this book. And it's just really funny to me. You've got Becca, who her father left her and her mom about 5 years ago. I think they're 17. He left when she was 12. And she basically stops believing in love in the real world, but dives headfirst into cute romance books. So she has read all of the cute books ever and is like, love in books is real, love in real life is not. And you're like, okay, sure. And then you have Brett. Why their names are Becca and Brett, I don't know, but they are. Brett, his parents are like the perfect love story. They met when they were young. They've been married forever. They have a kid they adore. They're thriving at life. And it all implodes. And maybe this video will be a mini preview of what it would be like to have a spoiler full video, because like I said, I'm not necessarily recommending this book. I more just want to laugh about it because it's so funny to me. So I'll put it in the description and I'll say it now. This is a spoiler full. Is it a spoiler free? Spoiler full video. I'm just going to talk about all the things of this book because I don't necessarily feel like you need to read it, but just laugh with me about it. So Becca is a book nerd, a book lover, a love of books, but not in real life. Brett seems to have the perfect life. His parents, especially his father, thinks he's missing out on key, just adolescent experiences, including dating. And that's subtle foreshadowing to what happens. His dad is you should have gotten out there more. I'm sure your mom would agree with me that we kind of wish we, dated more people, because they got together and they were 16 or 17 and she got pregnant at 18, after or towards the end of high school. So he makes a comment about I wish that you just would date basically. And so Brett is like, great, I had this situation where I helped this girl out, which is so weird. How weird is it that this girl's in the hallway talking to her ex-best friend about how she's really secretly been dating somebody, and he literally just walks up to her and it's like, yeah, I've been dating her, and then kisses her. Not only is that weird, But like for a 17-year-old to do, extra weird. A 17-year-old who doesn't know the other 17-year-old, extra weird. Like what were we don't get his thought process at all about why he did what he did. He just like, oh, she looked like she needed help, so I pretended. And you're like, that's so weird. That's so weird. That's so weird. Weird. So that's how they like come together and mutually agree to fake date. And that's is one thing that is different from other fake dating tropes is that, you know, they're not trying to make anybody jealous. They're literally both doing it for their parents because their parents think they're not having like a healthy high school existence because they're not dating, which is a perfectly healthy high school experience, but whatever. And so they start dating and obviously start catching feelings, and his world implodes. He finds out that his dad has been cheating on his mom. And, you know, for him, he'd viewed his parents as like this perfect marriage, this perfect couple, like they have this great life. And then he finds out that his dad is cheating on his mom. And that leads to him breaking it off with Becca because at this point they had decided they actually have feelings for each other and are like actually dating. But he's like, I only got together with you because my dad wanted me to. And so like that just feels like it's tainted. And I'm like, you're an idiot, but okay. And Becca is like, you know, the first time I decide to let somebody into my life, he just like breaks my heart and love is stupid. And then she destroys like half of her books. And I'm like, that's dumb. But it's funny because so the books she picks up off her shelves too, because she doesn't throw away all of her books, but she starts with like a garbage bag full and she picks books she didn't like very much. Which is hilarious. Books with like some specific tropes, but it was like things like that, things that made them secondary books in her mind already that she's like, oh, I read it and it was fine, but I didn't love it. Or like, you know, she's like, well, I can't not finish a book. She never, you know, DNF'd a book because she's only 17. She'll get to a point where she will not finish a book, but she's not there yet. So it's funny because the books she's throwing away are like already second tier books in her mind. So it's like, yeah, you shouldn't have like just gotten rid of them. You could have like donated them or something. But it's just funny because they're like, oh, you got rid of all your books. But it's like, no, she's getting rid of books she already didn't like very much. So that's just kind of funny. And we're jumping all over the place because I have more thoughts about this book that happened earlier in the book before Brett is stupid. Those include one of the things I remembered most about this book that I didn't remember was from this book was that they go to an arcade. And that's like one of their first dates is that he takes her to this arcade that's like super nostalgic and he like low key helped it like stay afloat because like the owner got like cancer or sick or something. And he actually helped keep it open and running because he loved it so much. He didn't want it to close. And they go there. And that was one of the like main things I remembered about this book was that they go to an arcade. And that was like part of their like core memories of their relationship. And then I remembered his dad works in like the hotel business and helps like open hotels all over the country. And there's a hotel opening, which is where because Brett had found out his dad was cheating a little bit before that, but that's where it all like exploded and like everybody finds out. And, you know, he finds out that his mom knew and like things like that. So those are things I remembered was arcade and like hotel opening. And I was like, those are super vague and could be from so many different things. That's what I remembered about this book. And I couldn't remember what they were from. They were just, I was like, I have these scenes in my head from a book that I've read, but I don't know what book it is. I've read so many books at this point that it's like, it could come from so many things. But that's mostly what I have to say about this book is that it is full of cliches. When I was just now re-looking at my blog, the cover says on it, it says that it says Wattpad on the cover. And so like this was a Wattpad story. For those of you that don't know, Wattpad is the place of authors that, I mean, you can just put anything on there, anything. So it's full of fan fiction and loads of stuff that just shouldn't exist in the world, but it does because people had a place to put it. And that place was Wattpad. So I found loads of things I loved on there. And there's also a lot of books that have become actual published books that started on Wattpad. There's even like shows that have like started on Wattpad, which is like crazy to me. But most of the stuff up there on that app website is not of substance. It doesn't hold much value. It may be fun and cute. There's a lot of it that's not. But for the few people that make it off Wattpad, it's kind of like, oh, I know where you came from. It's pretty funny. And it just is like, sets the bar a little bit lower. So this is a book of cliches. It's super cute. If you're looking for just like a fake dating book, it's really cute. It is a very low level like entry in terms of like emotional input. If you read my blog, which I will link in the description, I literally talk about how like this is one of the most unproblematic books ever because, you know, there's stuff with his parents, but like they decide to stay together. And like he's an idiot for 2 seconds with Becca and then is like, oh, I realized that like, no, you were the one person I wanted to talk to you and you were the one thing that was real in my life. And you're like, yeah, you idiot. That is one thing this book has that I really like, is that it does give you more of like them in an actual relationship. I've complained about this before. I hate how books like they kiss and it ends. Literally, there's been books where it's like they kiss for the first time and the book literally ends in the next sentence. And you're like, you don't even get like them pulling apart. And you're just like, good Lord, give me something. And with this book, you actually get a little bit of them dating. So that was really nice. So this is a book of cliches. It's cute, it's fun, it's silly, it's very cliche. It is all the cliches. So for my first little example of a spoiler full video, please let me know what y'all think. I'd definitely be happier to do this with books that I'd like, you don't need to read it. Let me just tell you about it so that you know about it, but you don't need to read it anyways. Maybe that's a place to start. So that way I don't feel like you won't go read the book because I gave you all the spoilers, but like you didn't need to read this anyways. So anyways, wow. That's all I have for the upside of falling. And hopefully you enjoyed this video. Like I said, please give me your comments on what you think of a spoiler full video. Like and subscribe. Those things that I always forget to say will maybe one day remember to say. Like, comment, subscribe. Would be super appreciated. So with all of that, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Hope you have a great night, a great week, great weekend, great month, great year. Hope you have all the greats because you're truly worthy and deserving of them. So until next time, 再见. Bye.